Come correct or don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
Know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Jhanilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
Talking about today, we started off with something else. What we're talking about today is things that business owners think about. So I think it's a good topic because maybe you should do the commercial break now because I'll tell you why. But go ahead, do the commercial break now.
You can do the commercial break too. But if you guys didn't know, we own a 7-figure cleaning business. If you are interested in learning how to start or scale your own cleaning business without cleaning any houses, check out Cleaning Business University. We are doing a free masterclass that's normally on Thursdays, sometimes on Sundays, but the link always tells you where it is. You can check out cleaningbusinesshacks.com if you want to learn more about how to scale or start a 6 or 7-figure cleaning business. Or you can check out Cleaning Business University if you're ready to just jump right in, get all the information. So if you want the free webinar, cleaningbusinesshacks.com. If you want the full-blown shebang on how we run and scale our cleaning business, that's cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. Link will be in the show notes, in the bio, etc.
Yes. So I say 6 is things business owners should think about. And I said to do the commercial break because I think about our students. So a lot of our students, this is your first business, just like how this was our first business, and you may not be thinking about this. Or even just if you're a listener that you're thinking about starting a business, I think this would be helpful for you to listen to because nobody really teaches you how to be a business owner, right?
Yeah.
Unless I guess you go to school for a business degree. Do they even teach you how to be a business owner at that time? Probably not.
No, I think we get a lot of
Like
our
an
education from exactly what you guys are doing right now.
Yeah.
Listening to podcasts, watching YouTube, talking to other business owners. We're going to talk about that too, how to keep yourself in line with what's necessary.
Right.
And this conversation is great following one of our previous conversations where we said things that you don't need to start a business. This would be another.
Oh, yeah.
This would be the opposite of things you should think about when starting your business, or before you start your business, or when you start and you're kind of trying to figure out how to keep going and things like that. So I think it's a good segue from that previous conversation.
So the first thing is like, who are you serving and is it for everyone? So a lot of people, they're like, I think about when they're doing like clothing. They're like, I want to sell for people that are 25 to 35 years old. What does that mean? Who is your avatar? That's what I'm looking for. Who is your avatar? Who is the person that's going to be buying from you? So who are you serving? And is it everyone? Niching down usually gets you further. I know sometimes you feel like, if I have 15, 20 products, then more people will buy from me. Not necessarily. Because I think of those sites like Forever 21 or TJ Maxx and certain stores. It's just too much for me.
Yeah.
I'm not even checking the website. It's just too much because I have to know exactly what I want before I go on that website. Shein, for Fashion Nova, all of those sites. It's just overwhelming. So if you're niching down to, I'm the person that sells A, B, and C. I'm the person that sells only suits for people going to prom. I'm the person, if you're niching down, I think that helps you to go further. So who are you serving and is it for everyone?
Yes, that is a very important point. So let's talk about a few of the things that we are like involved with. So like we have a virtual assistant business that we talk about all the time. So it's not a virtual. People ask us all the time, like, oh, can you do social media for us? Or can you do this? No, we only service cleaning business owners. And what we do for those cleaning business owners are very specific. We answer the phones, we handle the leads, we handle the marketing, we handle the hiring. So there are very specific needs that these businesses have that we handle. We don't handle your social media. We don't handle this. We don't handle, there's a few things that we don't do. So being very specific about who our client base is, who our target audience is very important. And when we say virtual assistant, they automatically assume, do you handle my calendars? Do you do this? Like, no, we only do certain things for this certain business. Another side of that is like Cleaning Business University. We want to work with specific people who have 9-to-5s, people who are looking, like even this podcast, right? People who have 9-to-5s are looking to make more income, impact, and influence outside their jobs because that's who we are. That's who we were at one point. We were 9 to 5ers trying to figure out a way outside of our job. So
Still working 9 to 5.
you still working 9 to 5. Yeah. So we have a very target audience that we're trying to reach with the podcast. So we're not just out there trying to service everyone. We're trying to service particular people who have a particular need, who's trying to do a particular thing.
And I think it's important to note that in any business, you aren't for everyone. That's period. I don't know how else to say that. You and your services will not be for everyone. We are not for everyone. People will hear us and say, talk too fast. Don't like the accent. Don't like the way they look. Don't like they from New York.
Like
it could be anything. It could be anything. Shout out to New Yorkers from Brooklyn, New York specifically. It could be anything, but you can't serve everyone because you aren't for everyone. And that is okay. There's some people that prefer Walmart over Target. Some people prefer Target over Walmart. Some people that prefer Louis over Gucci. I mean, it is what it is. But you won't be for everyone, and I think niching down will get you further. And I know that when we start businesses and stuff, we want it all. We're like, you want it all because you want to make some money and things like that. But you'll learn quickly you don't need it all. You do not need it all. And that's something we speak about as well. Like the percentage that we need of people that we need to run our business is so small. Our cleaning business is so small because we don't need all of the customers. Less headaches too. You'll learn that as well.
And that goes into point number 2 is like, when you start your business, think about how fast can you get your first customer. And that's called like having a proof of concept essentially. So if I start, and we'll stick with the clothing line because that's where we're there. How fast can you get your first customer? And I don't want to say the first family friend customer. No, I want you to get your first customer that you don't know. Because when you get your first family friend, you're like, all right, that's great. But when you get that first person that doesn't know you from a hole in the wall, that changes. You feel like I can conquer the world. I remember in our cleaning business, we got that first client that didn't know us, that didn't see our faces, that didn't know our last name, that didn't know anything about us, that booked us online, paid us online, and we serviced their home without seeing them. We was like, we got something here. So think about how fast can you get that first customer. So that's your goal, especially when you first start your business. And what that also helps you with is keeping momentum, because there's a few phases when you start your business. You have the idea.
It's exciting.
You got the exciting part. The idea is the exciting part. Then you start the implementation, which is all the cool stuff: the website, the graphics, the logo, the name.
All that type of stuff,
That's all the fun stuff. Now the stuff that's not so fun, you start. It's a downhill effect, essentially. You start
It's a high and then it
it's
goes
literally
down.
a roller coaster.
It's waves. The business is definitely waves. That's a very
it's
good
a roller
point.
coaster. So you get you get the idea, you get the logo, and then you got to get that first client and finding that first client. So how fast can you get that first client? Because the longer it takes you, the further down that roller coaster you're going to go. And the longer it takes you and the further down you're going to go, the less momentum you're going to have. So I would say that's point number 2. How fast can you get that first client?
Yeah, and then also just recognizing, is it going to take me 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? How long does it take me to get the client? And maybe if it took me 30 days, what did I do to do that? Like, right? So you want to kind of replicate those things to make sure that you continue to do that, right? To continue to grow. And you spoke about not knowing those people. And if you could get one person to buy, you could get 100 people to buy. That sounds insane. It sounds like, well, how? How do I do that, right? But if you could get one person that doesn't know you to buy, there's 100,000 more people that will be behind that can purchase as well. Because whatever you sold or whatever you had on your website or however you marketed yourself that made that one person recognize you, there's thousands more like that one person that wants to buy from you. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about making that profit and getting that first sale and working towards that. So,
yeah. And one thing I think about is when you're first starting, you want that, especially when we started our cleaning business, we were thinking about like, we wanted like that home run hit. So we want that $500 booking, that $900 booking. We was like, no, you got to get you got to have a bunch of base hits. You can't just aim for the fences every single time. You got to have a $150 booking, $100 booking, $120, and you get a bunch of base hits. You could build up your confidence now. So especially when you first start your business, you get a bunch of base hits. Now you get that feedback versus you going for the highest end clients when you first start, or just not even the highest end. The price point doesn't really matter, but you go for those grand slams when you first start, and you have those grand slam mistakes. It's a lot easier to make mistakes from the base hits. It's like, all right, I learned from this customer, I learned from that customer. You could probably get a lot more of those base hits than those few grand slams you're aiming for. So think about those base hits. And 2 points is 2 points, whether it's a dunk or it's a jump shot.
Fair. The third thing that we say that business owners should think about, which to be honest, we did not think about when we were starting our business. We always say that this was our first business, so we really didn't have any guidance on. We had no guidance, really. We didn't have no business because we didn't have no guidance on it. But thinking about your future of your business and how can the business grow in 6 months, 1 year, 3, 5, 7, 10. And to be honest, I know that's overwhelming because we go on podcasts and do interviews and people say, what's next? Or what's in the next 5 years? And I'm like, listen, I'm trying to get past having a 6-month-old and making it to December. I'm trying to get to the end of this year, okay? But I think it helps to work your way backwards, right? So if I know that I want to have a business that makes, let's just say $10K a month, what do I need to do that? How many clients do I need to have? How many clothes do I need to sell? You know, that type of stuff. So thinking about the future will help, I think, encourage you. And in life, that's what we do since we were born, right? Where do you want to go to college? What do you want your career to be? That's all thinking about the future, right? So now I know what classes I need to take in college to go to this career. It's the same thing when it comes to business. And even if you don't have a 10-year plan or anything like that, but thinking ahead maybe 6 months, 1 year, what does that look like?
So then now this goes back to the other episode we had where we said you don't need a
business plan. But we talk about that.
So you don't need a business plan to get started, but you should have a plan for your business.
Because a business plan and thinking about where you're going to be in a few years or a few months, would you say that's the same exact thing?
Business plan.
I think of like
your business.
I think a business plan of more of like logistic, legal type of stuff. That's what I think about when I think of a business plan. Yeah. Versus me saying, "Where's my business going to be in 5 years?" That could be a sentence. Yeah, it could be. Versus a business plan is the whole written out thing that I need to follow. Blah blah blah. That's how I see the difference. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think having a plan for your business. I think having a business plan and a plan for your business are two different things because. A business plan is normally before you get started or like when you try to get to a next level or something like that. Plan for your business is, all right, I just want, by the end of this year, here's what my goal is. Yeah. And I think that's what we're saying here. Like just having a goal for your business it doesn't have to be 3-5 years, at least just 1 year. 6 months. And that's another thing is like being prepared to go that far in your business too. Like I'm going to do at least 1 year in this thing to see how it goes. And we always say you should have at least 3 years. 1 year is like, okay. But if you're going to do something, at least put 3 years in it because it's going to take you 1 year to understand what the hell you're doing. Mm-hmm. Year 2, you're going to be like, all right, I got a decent understanding. And year 3, you're going to feel like I got a good grasp on this. Mm-hmm. By year 2 or 3, you're going to have a base knowledge of everything that could go wrong. So far, you're going to have a good understanding of how to grow and scale. And you just got to implement it at that point. Year after year, month over month, day after day. So,
and that doesn't mean you can't do these things shorter, right? It doesn't mean that you can't learn in less than a year. Of course you can. But if you're, especially for people, which I find that a lot of our students are that never had a business before, you don't really have an understanding to really not just say, okay, it's been 4 months. That's it. I ain't doing this no more, right? Because I don't think you really get a full picture. And we think about that ourselves. We speak about how about 10 months into the business, we were like, this ain't working, and then wonder if we would have stopped then. Life would have been completely different. We wouldn't have known what life would have been like because we would have stopped. So you wouldn't be able to tell, but life would be completely different. So definitely trying to stick it through.
We need to do a full episode on that. That'd be a good one.
What's the episode?
When to quit.
I think we did an IG live. Can we pull the audio?
You lazy.
Can we pull the audio on that? Because I'm sure that was a good episode.
I'm sure it
on
was.
IG live.
So also number 4 would be. Is that number 4?
What's number 4? IG live?
No,
I'm kidding. What's number 4? What you got?
The topic, knowing your numbers.
Oh yeah. You didn't say that. You just said when to quit.
Yeah, I was saying that wouldn't be it. You are just all over this episode.
No, I
might have to edit this whole thing out.
No, I didn't see how that was when to quit and knowing your numbers is the same thing.
No, that's the episode. See how we getting into banter right now? I said an episode we should do is when to quit.
Okay.
And you said that was a good IG live, and I kind of stopped that conversation.
Oh, who knew?
Back onto the podcast here.
Go ahead then. Yeah, number 4. That's number 4. Knowing your numbers. I didn't know.
Knowing your numbers. So. And the thing about our perspective is that we only talk from our perspective. We don't talk from anything that we think we know, anything that we think is that you should do. We talk from our perspective only, which is I think is a very unique perspective because we're not giving you game from anybody else. We're giving you the game from us as we went through it, so that you can know what we did, what we should have done, what we didn't do, things like that. So knowing your numbers. So we said we want to do 10,000 a month in our cleaning business, and we said how many houses would it take for us to get to 10,000 a month? Now, how many houses a month is that? If we said on average every house is $200, how many houses do we need to do a day, a week, a month to get to $10,000 a month? And then we said, is that enough money
to cover what we need?
To cover what we need to cover. And that's literally what we did as one of our exercises. And we said 10,000 ain't enough.
No, it's not enough. But another reason knowing your numbers is important because we got an accountant late in the game, right?
Yes. Speak on
we
it.
got an accountant.
Preach.
Okay.
That's one of the first things you should have in your business is an accountant, a CPA, someone to help you with your books.
Somebody with the book. Unless you're doing it. If you know how to do it, praise be.
Listen, do that. Please. Please do that. Don't be cheap. A good CPA or bookkeeper will save you money.
In
the
the
money
long
that
run.
you're spending, you will get that money back. Trust me.
Yeah. So what was I going to say?
Sorry, I cut you off.
Oh no. So another reason why it's important to know your numbers is we didn't get a bookkeeper until we were about, I think 10 to 11 months into the business. And Anthony was doing his numbers on his own on some platform. And we really had no idea what we were bringing in versus not. We just knew we weren't going in the hole. Like we knew that we didn't have to put any more money into the business. Whatever the business was bringing in, the expenses and everything was being covered from that account. And that's all we knew. So having an accountant and knowing our numbers would have helped us avoid a tax bill that ended up coming that we had to pay, but we had the money. So it would help that. But also for us to know how much money we were actually making. So once we had an accountant in place and we knew, we're like, oh, okay, we can start taking money from this business. We had no idea. Don't be us. Do as we say and not as we do. So don't be us. Know your numbers. And in order to hit goals, I think you need to know your numbers, right? In order to know, like, am I making a profit? Am I breaking even? And when you're just starting a business, for some time, you will be breaking even. That is okay. That is part of the business. But for us, how we looked at it was that if we didn't have to put any more money back into this business from when we started, then we were winning because the business is sustaining itself, right? The account is growing maybe slowly, but the business is able to pay for expenses, pay the contractors, pay everything. So knowing your numbers is important when you are a business owner and things like that. And there's different seasons as well, right? We speak about that. There's certain times where I'm going to make a 20% profit, where other times I may only make a 10 because I had to bring up my marketing dollars because of whatever reason, or I had to spend more money on hiring someone for whatever reason. Like all those things are important to know when it comes to your business and knowing your numbers.
Yes. And I'm speaking very slowly for that one because I think knowing your numbers also allows you to, if you do get to the position where you decide that you want to sell your business or you want to bring somebody else in, having that profit and loss every single month allows you to have a more equitable business. So when you go to the bank and let's say you want to do a business line of credit or you want to do a business loan, they have your numbers, you have your numbers, and they'll say, oh, wow, you got your numbers in order, you got your numbers in check, you seem like a more professional business. I'm going to give you this line of credit. I'm going to give you this business loan. So having your P&Ls, having your numbers are very important, especially when you want to grow and scale, and having those numbers in front of you allow you to do that.
Yeah.
So very important. Profit and loss statements. If you want to sell it, like even when you think about, like people talk about like selling their rental properties, it's like, all right, how do I know that you're making this money? Where's your rent roll? Where's your rent receipts? Where's your profit and loss statements? How do I know you're actually making this money? Where's your bank statements? So having all of that available in your business every single month allows you to be more equitable. People could invest in your business. When you go and say, I'm making the money I am making, all you do is present it to them. Here you go. Mm-hmm. So you think about the $100, $200 you're sending to this accountant every single month. Now you got an equitable partner, and they're like, oh, your books are in order. I'm going to give you more money because you had your money in order. So we talk about money on our personal lives, but it's just as important in your business lives as well. So
the fifth thing that we have for what a business owner should know is basically why isn't enough. Having a strategy is important. We speak about, before you start anything, you're knowing your why. Your why can keep you pushing. I mean, it kind of reminds me about when people talk about the gym. What do they say? it's not consistency, it's discipline. Is that
Yeah.
what it is? Yeah, it's not consistency, it's discipline. So it's like the why is just not enough. So what is the strategy behind that? Because the why some days are going to feel like, all right, forget it. Like, I ain't doing it. This ain't working out. What is the strategy behind it? And, not just jumping into it as well.
Yeah. When we first started our cleaning business, it was like we were trying to figure this out, piecemeal everything together. But if we would have jumped in, we would have learned a lot more than just trying to piece it all together. You're trying to do YouTube. We're trying to ask people questions. We're Googling things. And if we would have had more of a structure or an outline to figure this out, and don't start anything from scratch. Nothing that you're starting right now is going to be brand new.
You're trying to say y'all not Amazon or Tesla.
You don't start anything from scratch. There is nothing that you're going to start that should be brand new. Unless you want to think about something out of this world, everything is figure outable. There's somebody who's done the thing that you want to do. So your why is like, all right, I want to start this business, but you don't have to try to figure it out alone.
Mm-hmm. So you're either going to be Googling for days, YouTubing university, or you pay for the knowledge, which I actually had that as a separate thing. But, paying for the knowledge and getting a coach or having a mentor, like we do it when we think about education. We do it when we think about 9-to-5s. Why wouldn't we do it with our business?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we do it with our business in regards to having someone to go to, having someone to bounce ideas off of, things like that? So paying for the knowledge is important to have a strategy in place if you don't want to be Googling for hours or doing YouTube University for hours.
And we hear that all the time. It's like, oh, what they're teaching you, you can figure it out on your own. Like, yes, you can figure everything out on your own, but you're going to pay in time or you're going to pay in money. Now, if you have more time than money, shoot it. Go for it. YouTube University all day. But where I am in my life, I have more money than time. I'd rather pay an expert. I'd rather pay for their mistakes. I'd rather pay for their lessons. I'd rather pay for their losses so that they could get me to where I need to be faster without having to step in that water, without having to jump into that lake. They already did that. They could give me the boat. They could give me the bridge. Why not take the boat or the bridge
Why
across that
am I
water?
struggling?
Why not just take the boat or the bridge over that river that they already had to swim through?
Convenience me. I am a very about life of convenience.
Listen, there is nothing that you're going to start today that's going to be brand new.
Yeah.
You're not starting a Tesla. You're not starting an Amazon. You're not starting a Google.com.
a Facebook. Yeah.
You're not starting a Facebook. Unless you are, then hey, there's
Maybe you are. Maybe one of these people are listening to our podcast. You just don't know. But 95% of us, 97% of us are not. So
99%.
the information is out there. So, you need a why because that gets you started. But does that keep you in the game if you don't have a strategy? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the last thing we had about, things business owners should know or think about is remaining consistent. Remaining consistent is, we touched on it when we spoke about, you said keeping in the game for about 3 years and things like that. But is it something that you could do for a day, a week, a month? How are you going to stay persistent? How are you going to stay consistent with this thing that you're starting, right? And I feel like we talk about this a lot. With social media, there's good and bad. It shows you what's possible, but I also feel like people have a perception of what business should look like because of social media, because of what you see of it being quick, fast. And if it's not quick, fast, then it's not working. And that's the issue that I think we have. And I'm like, maybe people should go back to a brick and mortar because then they'll have a better understanding. I'm not saying that because there's a lot of expenses, but I'm just trying to say people felt like a brick and mortar would take longer. You know what I mean? Like,
that's not a bad idea.
With social media and just things being digital and people having access to things quicker in their computer or their hand because of a cell phone, we as people just feel like if it ain't happening quickly, it ain't working, and we don't stay persistent and we don't stay consistent. So
yeah, we were talking
to
our boy, and he was like, he said I bought a space, and the purpose of the space couldn't be done because of COVID. He's like, I got this space, now I'm spending $3,000 a month or something like that for 2 years because the space couldn't operate. You know what type of that is?
That's real dedication. I don't know if I say dedicate that long.
Well, he had to. You got a lease. You can't break the lease.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He thought about breaking the lease, but you have to have this space for 2. You have to have this space for 2 years. He signed a 2-year lease. COVID happens. Nobody knew COVID was going to happen. Yeah. You can't quit. You cannot quit if you have a. And that's the thing. We have to get in that mindset that we have to keep going, no matter how hard things get tough. At least to try it out to see if this could work.
Yeah,
you got to keep going at that point because you got a lease.
Yeah,
Most of us don't have leases in life, so we could just, all right, I'm gonna try drop shipping. I'm gonna try the cleaning business. Oh, I'm gonna try trucking. Oh, I'm gonna try podcasting. We are almost 1 year into podcasting too. That's gonna be a celebratory episode.
Yay.
I could try
Did you
this.
get
I could try that.
balloons?
I could quit. I could do this. Like, we should get balloons.
What would it say?
I don't
say
know.
Hartzog
So-
hustle. That's a lot of balloons.
Yeah, so you have to get into a lease mindset where you have to try something out for a long term, and what's going to keep you consistent.
No, I don't. Consistent and persistent is the name of the game. And the way, we can speak about the way that we do that is we get into the room. We get into other rooms with other people that have business, entrepreneurs that are growing their businesses. We have a coach. We have 2 coaches that help us to change our mindset, to grow, because they're in places that we are not at yet, right? We have groups like communities for our students. That helps us to stay consistent too, because then we have to show up for other people, right? And our community of students are saying things that are new in the market, things that they're trying and doing. So that helps us as well. And masterminding with people, like I said, getting into other rooms with other people that may be at our level or higher. Like, we're at a point that we're like, we want to be the small fish in the room. We don't want to be the people that know most of the information in the room, because then we're not really advancing or learning, right? So challenging ourselves is important for us as we try to remain consistent and persistent with what we're doing in all the businesses that we're running.
That last one was a good point. Not being the biggest fish in a small room. So I was talking to someone recently, and he trains his son in a sport, and he's like, my son is the best on the team that he's in. And I said, well, how does he learn? He's like, he really doesn't learn. He's the best person on the team, so that they kind of learn from him. He said, well, he learns because he teaches them what he knows. So he has to be mindful of, oh, you messed this up. So now he knows when somebody else messes up. So he's like, that's okay. But he said he also wants him to be in a higher bracket or a higher league, so that he could be the worst person on that team. And now him by being the worst person on that team versus the best person on that team, he now has something to strive for.
Yeah.
He has a challenge. He has a mindset he has to get to. He has things he has to learn, so that he could be the best person. He could be the worst person on the best team, so that he can learn and get to where he wants to be. So,
and this
that's
ain't
very
talking
important.
about struggling again, because I ain't with the struggle.
No,
But
this ain't struggling at all.
No, I know. I'm saying, but yeah, you need to challenge yourself or be in other rooms to see what's possible as well. Because if I'm the biggest fish in the room, then I'm just at my mindset. I can't think bigger than that, right? But when I go into other rooms and people are doing or saying things that never even heard of that, like, didn't even think about that, then that's a different ball game too.
Yeah, if you see, going back to sports, if you see somebody diving and throwing, you're like, oh, you wasn't doing that in the other league, but these people are doing it in this league.
Yeah, like nothing. So now you're like, I gotta get
I
it
never
together.
seen that before. Now I was like, I didn't know that was even possible. I could dive and run and jump. So it may sound foolish, but if you don't know what's possible, by not seeing it, when you start seeing it, you'll start believing it.
Absolutely.
So seeing is believing, guys, as simple as it sounds.
And so those are the 6 things we had, that 6 things business owners should think about. So thank you for joining us today. Did you have anything else that you want to add? You want to say something? No? Okay. Once again, thank you for joining us. Please be sure that you're subscribing, you're sharing, you're commenting. We respond back to all the comments. We continue to read your reviews on here. So if you can go drop us a review by actually writing a review for us, that is very helpful. And thank you for joining for another episode.
We show up every week, guys. So those reviews are very helpful for us. It helps us reach more people, helps us teach more people. So thank you guys for being here. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Bye.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Jhanilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.